And the standard says we clean before we dry. So the question, clean, forensically clean. Gavin, you know.
If you flew here, Barry, they'd put you in jail.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So, just quickly, within the audience, who uses an ATP meter? Do you use one regularly? Anyone else? Yep.
It's still in the box.
Still in the box, yeah. So talking about the box, it comes in a nice little pack, a little carry bag like this. So it's hard. The one I have actually attaches to my belt with a little bit of a loop, so I've got this here, and then I've got my moisture meter on the other side, and I'm good to go. But it's really important because the technology has been available for a while, and it's now time for us to be part of that movement, to be part of the people, the industry that owns the data, owns the information. It's so critical. As Barry said, the hospital I'm working with at the moment, they said, oh, we've got this drug-resistant bacteria. We do all these open heart surgeries on kids. The kids get infected, and we found it on the mop. It must be the cleaner's problem. I went, no, we're the solution. The fact that we used the mop found there was drug-resistant bacteria in many different places. So I wanted to show you something that the ATP test. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. ATP is found in all living things. It's the energy that makes us work. And that's why we can detect it. One thing you need to know, viruses do not have ATP because they're not living. So this does not detect viruses, but it detects everything else. Bacteria, fungi, mold. It'll show whether there's a load there. Don't get too caught up on the numbers. It's not about, oh, this number versus this number. It's about showing what a dirty surface looks like before clean and after clean, that difference between the numbers that you get, and always take the sample before you disinfect. So it helps in the preparation for disinfectant. If we talk about ATP, meters, this is a luminometer, this is a swab, that's it. It's two things, that's all you need. One of the biggest restrictions that we had for many years was maintaining the cold chain with the swab. That's not the case anymore. You put this in the refrigerator, it will stay and be functional for 15 months. If you take it out and you keep it at room temperature, it will work for 4 weeks. That's 4 weeks. One of the biggest limitations we used to have was that we had to keep this in a cold chain and then take it out and use it. But now we can keep it at room temperature for 4 weeks, which is really cool. That means it's made it more versatile and it's made it more user-friendly. I need you to practice, though. I need you to practice on how to use the ATP meter, because there's ways that you can cross-contaminate. There's ways you can make mistakes. What sort of industries do you think use this right now? Anyone heard of the Serve Safe program for restaurants? The chefs, they all use them. I do a lot of work in beauty salons. Beauty salons have to be registered with the state government under their standardization registration board. Beauty salons in the state of Pennsylvania and many other states in New York are required to use ATP meters. The oil industry will use an ATP meter to look at petroleum products, whether they are contaminated with bacteria. I would like us to go to scale. I'd like us to sit down and look, how do we put this into our business model? How do we put this on an invoice? How do we ensure that the customer pays for the ATP services we're giving them, and how do they appreciate the science we're bringing to the cleaning process? When you use this, you have to keep the ATP meter vertical, because we're going to put this with it. We're going to take the sample and we're going to snap this off and add this liquid. But more importantly, I want to start with, when you buy an ATP meter, you're going to get a template like this. This is what comes with it, a piece of paper. That's 4 inches by 4 inches, or about 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. That is the minimum surface you need to take. So 4 inches by 4 inches is about 16 square inches, or 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, 100 centimeters squared. That's the minimum. You can take more. You can swab for your heart's delight, but you've got to take that as a minimum. So I take this, and then I grab one of these, and I make my template. 4 by 4. Okay, so this is actually a 10 by 10. That's 100 square centimeters. But what other ways can I get to 100 square centimeters? It's all about the area. A rectangle. This one here is, again, 4 by 25 centimeters. That gives me 100 square centimeters. And it's the same. So what I start off everyone with a template, and I make my own. I use this, and I cut this down. So when I'm practicing or I'm training, I put this down so I know what the minimum is. One other way that you can increase your ability, increase your skills, is when you make your template and you practice, you go, how long does it take me to swab this area? And you time it. And what do I time it on? My stopwatch on my phone, and I know it takes me about 25 seconds to do this, so that if I don't use the template, I keep swabbing for 25 seconds. So again, you can use the size of the template, and then as you practice, then you can change it to time. That ensures that you get a return on investment, and you get the money, and you get more accurate results, because it is really about the size of the area. Any questions? So yeah, you're more than happy. I've got this. This is pending patent at the moment, but more than happy to copy. This is what I use as a template. Aha. Good question. What was your name? What is it? Johnny just asked, do we send these to a lab? Johnny, will you get results in 15 seconds? This is real time work. This is you being on the front line, showing how dirty, or if we want to measure the level of cleanliness, take that before or after, how good was the work before we disinfect, for example. And then as I mentioned in the presentation today, there's also a kit you can buy with this exact same machine that can then be used for categorization of water quality. So as you categorize black, grey, clear, we often do that based on source, based on visual. I also want to get a number. And that helps drive the business and drive the invoice, as well as drive the return. When we started, this was 4,000 units. Where we are now, and I can show the before and after clean. So really simple, guys. It's as Barry said, you can wear gloves. You do not have to wear gloves, but you can. If you do not wear gloves, you don't want to. Everything in here, when I take that out, anything below the blue, you do not want to touch, because that then contaminates the swab. So it comes like this in a pack. I'll keep it in a refrigerator, or I just put it in my cool box as I'm traveling around in my truck. And then I take it out, and again, knowing that I can keep this at room temperature. Don't leave it in the truck when you go to Starbucks to get your coffee and it goes up to 100 degrees. Take it with you, but keep it at room temperature, and it'll last for 4 weeks. So I take the swab out, and I can, as long as I don't touch that swab, I'm not contaminating. Now, it's really important.
Come on over here, folks. Stand right up so you can see what he's doing. Front center.
So this is what the swab looks like. And again, I'm holding it on the blue. Can anyone see the blue? Now, this area here, I want to maximize that surface area. So if I take a swab and I touch it like that, I'm not getting the maximum surface area. So what I do is I put some flex into it, and that gives me a larger surface area. So let's use my template. I take the template, put it down. That's my minimum. But what I do, I hold it down with my fingers, put some flex, and I rub it back and forth.
And he's rotating that swab
Right across. And I'll I won't turn it too much, just a little bit.
Yep.
And I've done it in one direction. Then I'll turn it and I'll build it across in another direction. And then I can go diagonal. So I'll turn it again. I have to use this side. So what I'm aiming to do is to get this sample all around and use as much of that Q-tip there, you can see that cotton there, get as much of that covered off on the surface. Now that I've taken that, I can use my thumb, my forefinger, and go back and forth. Put it back in the thing even a second. Put that in there and snap this,
And you'll literally hear it go snap.
and you'll see the liquid moving down. There it is.
He's squeezing
And then,
that
and then I'm
ball.
shaking it. And I'll shake it for about 5 seconds. I'll get all that liquid out. That's the reagent. That's what helps does the test. Shake that there. Keep that vertical. Now on the front here, open up. Can you see there? This is where we're going to put it. And there's the OK button. That's the only button I need to press. So we'll just put that there. Hold it there for a second. Thanks, mate. Got that nice and wet.
Yep. So he's going to snap it. He's going to squeeze the ball, get that liquid down into the shaft, shake it up so it coats, and then it goes into the machine. Close the door.
That's it. It's in. Can you see that? Close the door, and I'll press OK.
And the countdown.
15 seconds, Johnny.
Now, is there and that's sample number 8.
Yeah, off the template, mate.
There's 1,000 square feet.
Yep. Okay, so Johnny's asked a question. During your sample, is there a way to take that best sample? If you can visually see something's dirty, you rub it in blood, you're going to get thousands of units.
But I'm saying post clearance,
Yeah.
after you feel like you've cleaned, and it's
Yep.
1,000 square feet.
How many tests?
How many swabs?
Oh, it's a good. Okay, so it's not how many tests I would take. I could use the same swab in 3 different areas or 4 different areas.
Okay.
As long as so I'm looking at, if I said I clean this table in a way that all the tables should be clean, then instead of using 4 swabs and wasting my money, I would take 1 swab, 1 section here, 1 section here, 1 section here. If that result comes where I want it to be, then it's acceptable.
Okay.
If
What's your
not,
reading, Gavin?
oh, it's 17.
17.
Yep.
Okay. That's a very low reading.
Yep. Anyone want to have a try?
Yep, good.
Okay. Now, the swab's been used. It's finished. This can go into the normal trash. It's not medical waste. It's not controlled waste. There's no definition for this waste.
Hey,
This
we
can go
just
in-
did your webinar last week.
Yeah.
And I would always just bag it and then throw it out with the trash. No problem at all.
Yeah.
So Kelly, come over here. So you've got this here. I mean, we're going to your swab. Make this vertical, right, and just pull it straight out. Now, someone want to screw it out. Pull it out. Pull it out. Don't touch the shaft. Pull it out. Right, now we're going to use my template, and we're going to use this area here. And you just, yep. Now, you're going to put more flex. Now, see when you flex it, see how you get more surface area? And you can just go back. As you get about halfway, just turn it a little bit. Just get a little bit of a twist. Then keep going.
It's like the inoculating in the microbiology labs, right?
Well, hopefully we're going to make a cleaning class.
No, in microbiology, you take your inoculating lymph dip it.
Exactly. And then go along here. So quick little flex. That's it. That's nice. And then you can go diagonally. Doesn't matter how many times, at least the minimum you need to do is that 4 by 4 inches or 10 by 10 inches. That's the minimum. Okay, put it back in.
How are you?
I do have a specific number I need to get to. But if I'm showing out and I'm cleaning for health on services, and I can show a before and an after number, that's pretty good value. But we're not doing that at the moment.
Yep. 5 minutes, Gavin. So, yeah. Hey, let me ask everybody a question. Now, visually, everyone looks at these boards. Do they look evenly soiled? Yeah, they look great. We originally saw them, right? The RLU was 17, the RLU was 4,000 some odd, and the RLU there on number of field was 439.
Nice.
But could you see how more sold one was over the other? The answer is no.